I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Since Thanksgiving's over, Black Friday, and all the shopping's over, it's time to get busy again. A couple weeks ago, we actually redid this whole wheel well with some Pour 15. We actually lost all the footage to this video and a whole nother video. But since we have made a comeback with all of our electronics and stuff, we're here to do this again, not only to finish this, but to do this side as well. And well, if you guys haven't noticed, it is much brighter here in the shop. A couple weeks ago, we actually installed this light primarily for this job so we could see for recording. But yesterday, we grabbed us another light. Now, a couple of the products we're using is we actually have this Pour 15 right here, which is what we are putting directly on the bare metal after we wire wheel it. A couple old brushes, because they'll only be single use. Here is some seam sealer. I don't really think the color matters at all. We just got this from the parts store. Probably about 20 bucks a bottle or tube. We also grabbed us, honestly, the cheapest undercoating, as long as it's rubberized, because this should be black. The can I have over here that I got from Harbor Freight actually comes out like brown. So we're not using that. That looks terrible. Pull everything, strip it down to bare metal, coat it with Pour 15, let it dry, put another coat on it, come back, seam seal it, and then once the seam sealer dries or cures, we can hit it with the undercoating. No idea why I almost said overcoating, but that's what we're doing in this video. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Let's get started. I think first things first, so we get a little bit more access here, kind of like we have over on this side, is you got it, we're gonna pull the fender off. Fender liner as well, because we need access to the inner wheel well. Now we got the fender and the fender liner off. Knocked a ton of crud out of here. Now let's go ahead and start with pulling our knuckle off. There's really no method to the madness, we're just pulling everything apart. 17 and 19 mil will be your best friends here. A lot of times to get this out, you gotta kind of lift up on your suspension. Loosen up the tension on that bolt. Once you get it out one side, come out the other pretty easily. We did already remove a couple bolts to our shock on top. That's why it's kind of just falling out at this point. Don't forget your 10 mil for your brake line. I always like to go back, reinstall my hardware, so that way I don't lose it. And I always know where it goes. Over here, let's take all these down. ABS is disconnected. Always make sure you got it on even on these, because it's very easy to strip these. Went ahead and pulled that pesky cotter pin out. Threaded on just a little bit. Try to release. There we go. Yuck. There we go. Look what decided to come out. I apologize about the mowing. Getting the last of the leaves mulched up for fall with the little second fall we had. Now let's see about dropping the sway bar. Just managed to pull the sway bar off. Went ahead and pulled this AC pipe from there to there. And now we also went ahead and pulled the tension rod bracket. I think we're just going to try to pull the lower control arm off and pull this thing off as one whole unit instead of taking it all apart like I did previously. There is a nut and a washer on this side. Make sure not to lose those. Oh, lower control arm's done. Out for the tension arm, maybe. There we go. Now we've got our full knuckle assembly off. You know, I really wish I would have did this on the other side. I've got so many more parts over there. That's more what I'm talking about. Now, I think we should probably just go through, snag all our 10 mils, pull them out, because everything in here is coming out. this thing's mounted. Oh crap. Oh man, I totally forgot about that thing. So we have to remount this. And here on the other side, there's actually two brake lines. Once we pull this bracket off, you can see the two that I'm referring to. These are your engine bay ones. So actually, yeah, we've got to disconnect, but we've got to reposition this before we do so, because we need this to be sturdy when we disconnect the other lines. Well, it's a good thing that we went ahead and pulled all of these brake lines off, because it looks like there was a slight leak who knows how long ago, and it's got it a little bit crusty. Not to mention a couple other places up in here, but no need to fear. And all there was to pulling the windshield washer reservoir off was just these 3 bolts right here, and then your connectors right here and here. These actually have the 4-seaters units, because 2-seaters have the window washer unit in the back, which that's kind of cool that they utilize both being up here in the front. And then it's time for the best part, arguably the worst part, which would be to grab you some drill brush bits or whatever you got. We just need a wire brush attachment, which this is actually a 6-piece set from Harbor Freight. It's the nice and cheap one. It costs like $8 or something, and you got a bunch of different attachments. Probably better to use like an angle grinder with one of these attachments on it, but we're actually using a cordless drill, so it's going to take us significantly longer. There you go. A respirator is going to be your best friend in this situation. There's going to be so much dust, dirt, and grime that comes off of this that I wouldn't want to breathe it in. Goggles or safety glasses go a long way, but kind of gets in your way, because when you got one of these on, they constantly fog up. We're going to bare metal so we can get maximum adhesion and rust resistance or protection. I like to just work your way a little at a time instead of just going crazy, because then you'll have to go back and get all of that like primer. That took probably 2 minutes or so. Just being very steady, very easy with the brush. Now I will say another tip, the smaller you go, obviously the faster this is going to spin, the more RPMs you're going to get. So theoretically, the more material you're going to remove. Here we have spent probably 45 minutes. We have got the section from here down all the way over on the frame rail itself, at least. All this is really just dirty. Now we get to go for the fun part. I don't usually grind this down too much because the seam sealer on it's not going to hurt my feelings. It's usually never rusted there because they went crazy with the seam sealer. We are taking a dinner break. We have got us some leftover garlic bread and a sweet tea. Dinner of champions. We're actually going to let our drill cool down for a little bit, because that's kind of the problem with battery powered in this situation. Drill's cooled off. Time to get back to work.
Man, it is cold outside.
Well, we're in a bit of a predicament. Drill's dead, and the other battery is on the charger. Now to figure out what to do. Send the next battery, give it time to charge. Just go plug this one in on the other charger. I don't know. But we are making great progress. Waited a couple minutes. We've now got full charge on a battery. Went ahead, utilized our double charger system, and our other battery is almost charged now as well. We've got about an hour, hour and a half out here before Gabby gets off work and we get to go to B-dubs tonight. So let's see if we can maybe get the rest of this wheel well finished out before then. Hold 2 batteries later, yeah, about 2.5 batteries I should say. We've got all of this finally wire wheeled down. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do, let's grab us just a normal brush, knock any of the excess just dust and dirt off of everything before I go back and clean it up with a rag so you have a clean surface. Stuff I've had from the parts store for probably 5 years. Wax and grease remover. Use a microfiber towel. Damp it up. Wipe it all down. Keep wiping it down till it's clean. Focus on your seams, as that's really what's most important here, is you're trying to keep or get the best adhesion and seal there so we can keep the moisture out. Since this rag's already a little dirty from the other side, start up top. So that way anything up top will run down or fall down and you're not working against yourself constantly. Now once we have wiped it all dry with a fresh clean rag and it no longer is dirty, we're actually time to apply 415. To do this, you want to have a respirator, because on the can it says something about causing brain and nervous damage, so you don't want to have that. Our finished side is now all scuffed. Let's go ahead, clean it up, the wax and grease remover, come back, dry it, and we can begin to start coating everything. The reason that we're even doing this is since I let it dry too long and didn't put it on 4 hours after I applied the first coat, I have to re-prep the surface so that way it actually sticks. Probably a good idea to get something like this to lay underneath the workspace, because this stuff will absolutely stain your floor permanently. You always want to check the directions on your can. They're probably different to each brand. This, I know I just got to shake it for a couple minutes to get everything mixed up well, and you apply it in 2 coats. Supposed to let it tack up in time, so that's what we're going to do. About 4 hours. The stuff stays wet for quite a while. Driver's side's all recoated. Now, on to passenger. Make sure you're all mixed up. Get you a paintbrush. Once everything is all clean, we can go ahead and begin to apply. Start up here, because it's the hardest to reach. Get all these seams taken care of, and slowly begin to work your way outwards. Be very generous with this when applying it up here so you get the most coverage. If it starts to drip down, that's good, because then you can just use it for more. It's just literally as simple as that. Also, a little tip here, what I like to do is I kind of like to dab up all the 415, kind of push it into the seam and then paint it along. So I kind of use the 415 as the seam sealer before we use the seam sealer, so it actually has a waterproof coating. I think that may be all of it. At this point, I think we've hit every part that we needed to hit. Minus that right there, which I just noticed, but now we are all freshly recoated and resealed. Now, let's go wait our 4 hours and let all this cure up so we can come back for coat number 2. Here is the seam sealer, which we are all ready for. We just came through, scuffed each of our seams. It said with like 320 grit, but I've got 150 and 500, so I use 150. And we scuffed away each, went ahead, hit it with the wax and grease remover, and then hit it with a clean rag. Now it's time, let's go ahead. I've never done this before, don't criticize me. But I think I'm going to go for the more clean of a look instead of just globbing it on there like the factory, because that does not look good in my opinion. Yeah, this isn't really going to be seen, but my goal with this is If we can't run a fender liner potentially with a wheel size, then I want it to where no matter what, that this wheel well is going to be covered. There we go. Sometimes I wish I had a little guidance on this stuff, but I mean, what more, say, rewarding way than to figure it out doing it yourself by just doing it. You can always do it again if you don't like it. Focus first by just filling the gaps. After I fill the gap, I'm just going to run it down the body line. That will definitely need wiped out. Got a little unsteady there. This thing is super old and it's not really functioning how I'd like it to. I'll layer it up a little bit more right here, since this is kind of where 3 panels come together. Some of our beads are definitely better than others. This is one I'm pretty proud of up at the top. Gets a little globby and whatnot everywhere else. But, I mean, I think whenever our undercoat goes down over this, it's going to just make it look that much better. Because you're not going to see all these lines, smudges, and inconsistencies. It's actually just going to be all smooth, uniform. Honestly, that kind of looks cool. Kind of Tron-like. Just let it cure up for a little bit. We also put a little bit over here, since I seen we ground off a little bit too much on this side. We just went around, scuffed everything up after we let our seam sealer cure for about 30-45 minutes. Red Scotch-Brite or 500 equivalent. Went ahead, got all the shine away from it. Now, time for some undercoat. Safety first.
Read your directions.
Now, apply. Ta-da! This is our finished product. It'll look way more matte when it dries. So let's go ahead, finish pour 15ing our other side. We'll be back with you. Holy cow, it stinks.
This thing really makes a difference.
Well, you guys, I'm actually pretty blown away at how good this turned out. There is a couple tips or things that I would do differently next time. One, get better brushes so that way you don't have little bristles get literally stuck in the pour 15. Note to self to actually smooth all this out. Some of my other undercoatings I've used have actually been way more textured. I figured it would cover up a lot more of this, so I'm kind of left with my very first seam sealer job, and it definitely looks pretty rookie. This right here is the one I actually smoothed out with my fingers, and it looks great compared to the rest. Now we know to do better on the other side, but I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. Overall, I think we got every area covered, and honestly, I'm way happier with this than how it came from the factory, let alone how it came into my hands. It's really just honestly kind of surreal at this point that this project's been going on so long that we're actually making progress on her. Also, another thing is all the run spots. That is something else I would make sure that I wouldn't do, just because we see how much it sticks out. Sorry there wasn't much commentary this video, or at least what I'd like to. Being in my small non-ventilated workshop with no heat, you know, I'm just kind of in a weird spot. I can't stay in here super long without this, and I can't talk with it on because, you know, it sounds terrible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a like below and stay tuned for more videos, and drop a subscribe below while you're at it. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.